Hi, my name is Inbar. I'm a consultant to associations and a Congress organizer for over 20 years. I'm very happy to be with you here for the third webinar in this series. This topic is challenging. Financial models for this period of rapid changes. It is challenging not because we need to work through a tough period or dive under for a short period of time until the world will go back to normal. The day after will be different. The day after Corona, we will not continue where we stopped. Congresses will not be the same. The motivation to physically participate in a Congress will be different, and we cannot just assume that our audience preferences, traveling patterns, learning habits, and budget will be the same. We already spoke about Congresses being the main income source for us, and we have to reinvent the product, the Congress, association that will sit patiently and wait for the world to continue exactly where it stopped will find themselves out of the game. Others that will be quick to adopt new models will gain new audience. I remember sitting in a board meeting at the beginning of the pandemic. The treasurer was saying, okay, we can survive 2020 without a Congress income, but by 2021, business will be back to normal. To be honest, we all thought that. I was trying to postpone a Congress from spring to fall, 2020, and here we are today, in the fall, with no international large gatherings. Preparing Congress plans, signing contracts with Congress centers, and making financial forecasts in a period of social distancing is not easy, but I wish to challenge us even more. I think that our product, the Congress, will be different. And how can you prepare a financial forecast when you do not know which product you'll be selling? On-site, virtual, and exactly what is a hybrid meeting? So let's start to unfold it. Today, I would like to discuss 3 financial scenarios: crisis, virtual, and hybrid. We will emphasize the hybrid model and what it means to our planning and budget. I will start from where we are today. In February and March, we all understood that spring congresses are no option. Some of us postponed, some cancelled, and some went virtual. There were some questions that shaped the decision of each associations. Obligation toward Congress Center contracts, how many people already paid for registration, the board mindset, flexibility of speakers, and how open were the exhibitors and sponsors to put their money on an unknown marketing activity. There was no right or wrong decision, but in retrospective, in my opinion, associations that decided to go virtual were gaining from the situation. A, because we managed to cancel most contracts based on force majeure clauses, and B, because most of us managed to keep most of our attendees and part of the industry support and get financial income from the virtual Congress. But most importantly, whether we managed to cut our losses or make money, we were out there. We continued serving our community, creating engagements, driving science, and allowing people to connect. And even more, many associations use the recording for continued education since everything is recorded and online. The association that postponed the Congress may be facing the same challenges for the new dates. The sky is open, but international traveling is not back to normal, and force majeure clauses may not be applicable anymore. We will talk about opening contracts with Congress centers later in this webinar. But whatever the decision was, to go virtual, postpone, or cancel, it was a crisis management. Each association was assessing the best outcome for their audience and the challenges and risks they can afford. There were some more implications to the crisis management. Some associations gave their virtual Congress for free, under the assumption that they do not know how the product will look and cannot afford disappointing their audience. It was a legitimate decision and was perceived as goodwill by the audience. However, this is not a sustainable model for the future. Some associations continue to charge full registration fees, and some reduce their fees. This is okay, this is a crisis management model. But from all the associations I spoke with who chose to go virtual, whatever model they choose, all managed to break even or make profit. I want to dedicate a few words to talking about market share and the implication of going virtual on our presence. Forgive me for using a language that is less common for association. The Congress is our product, a product we are selling to our community, sponsors, and exhibitors. There is a triangle that benefits all. For the association, a Congress is a huge generator of science and knowledge and also income. For participants, a main learning, networking, and accreditation arena, and for sponsors and exhibitors, an opportunity to promote products. All these needs did not disappear in Corona times. Maybe they froze for a while, but the needs are still there, and by having virtual present, whether having a full congress or other online education activities, we answer the needs of all parties and keeping our market share. If before, there were geographical boundaries, mostly because of travel costs, online is eliminating these boundaries. The world is virtually at our doorsteps, and if one association does not have a physical or online presence, its audience will seek the knowledge where it is available. For me, this is the most important reason, to be present. This is the strategy, keeping our audience satisfied and maximizing our market share where geography is no boundary anymore. This leads me to the next financial model, only virtual. We already talked in the previous webinars about how to give value to participants, sponsors, and exhibitors in a virtual model. We did discuss what it entails and how to create value. The beauty of planning a whole virtual congress when we are not bound to contracts with congress centers and suppliers is that the budget model is pretty straightforward. On one hand, the income, registration, sponsorship, and grants, and on the other hand, the expenses, virtual platform, marketing and promotion, and speakers honorarium. It's that simple. Let's talk about the cost of the platform. The platform is actually our Congress Center, our interactive interface with the audience, our exhibition hall, and a library of science. This decision is the most important decision to make, and the cost of the platform itself can vary. In August, just now, I ran a bid for a virtual congress. Same specifications were sent to 7 providers. I really used it as an opportunity not only to compare costs, but also understand what is the vision that virtual platform providers are leading. The prices for the same specifications, same number of recording were ranging between 80,000 euro to 250,000 euro. And I can honestly tell you that the difference in price was not reflecting a difference in technology. Registration fees for virtual. I received a lot of questions about that. This is a very important discussion. Does online participation worth less than physical participation? Is the fact that it costs less to do a virtual congress impact our registration fees? My take on this is that our product is not inferior when it's online. However, our audience is not yet used to paying for online content, and we are still educating our audience that despite there is a lot of free knowledge out there, curated, validated knowledge and science is important to pay for. The right answer is balance. And here is my formula. The cost of making a virtual congress, the net income expectation in a physical congress and its ratio in the association budget, the support from industry, what participant will see fit to pay. Who is paying? Participants out of their pockets or institutions? What other associations in the same fields are charging? All these variables should be considered when planning the registration fees. Virtual Congress is a wonderful medium, and I truly believe it is here to stay, even when the sky is open. It opens new opportunities for us to immediately react to changing landscapes without long-term planning. We can launch a full-scale congress or a small educational program with shorter planning time and leaner budgets. However, it does not answer all our community needs, and no matter how advanced technology is, we still crave coming together for face-to-face interaction. And this leads me to discuss the third model, the hybrid model. Until today, the hybrid model was a supplementary component to a physical congress. The camera was in the hall anyway, so let's pay a little extra for the live stream. Some associations charge reduced registration fees for remote access, but most associations did it complimentary, for part of the program, as a way to promote the congress to audience that did not attend. This model gives an extremely limited remote participation and is not enough anymore. Hybrid model is that both on-site and off-site participants are enjoying the full experience. It does not have to be equal experience, but it has to work together, weaving digital interactions into the flow of our physical congress and vice versa, allowing remote participants to enjoy the on-site physical happenings. On one hand, the remote participants enjoy first-row seats from the comfort of their home office, enjoying all the content, high-quality video in all session. They get equal option to ask questions, interact with speakers, they can converse with exhibitors, and even discuss with poster presenters. All these technologies are rapidly evolving. So what will make people come on site? The desire to interact with people, exchange ideas, hands-on learning, meaningful meetings with KOLs, the ability to present one's work, 360 degrees of learning experience from peers and speakers. Combining virtual and in-person attendance has a huge potential. Fully immersive, blended environment, allowing on-site and remote attendees to enjoy the same content and collaborate together. But most important, increases our potential to reach new audience. Let's talk about budget models for hybrid congresses. The first thought is, now that we are doubling our cost, paying both for the on-site venue, exhibition, security, cleaning, and for the virtual venue. And yes, it is a challenge. With Congress centers, whether your contract with the Congress Center is signed or not, you can open it for discussion. They are our partners. Most of them are now working on a very low scale or closed. I am facing the same situation. I have a signed contract for 2022. I think I can reach my participation goal, but not all on site, which means I need less spaces and I need the extra money that was invested in the spaces for building the virtual platform. I will do my best to open this contract and put some of the spaces on a tentative basis, reduce my commitment. Same for future contracts. Keep an open discussion, commit to some of the spaces and keep some spaces on hold. My prediction is that Congress centers will adapt as well, open more entrances so they can host more events in parallel, build TV studios in-house and offer other benefits. Registration fees. There are two approaches. The first approach is audience will receive the same value, knowledge, content, interactivity, so they should pay the same. Another approach is that many of our costs are not relevant for off-site participation, like space, chairs, air condition, food, etc. My view on this issue, it is okay to charge less registration fees from someone attending from afar, not because you give them less value, but because they cost you, the Congress organizer, less money. When you calculate their costs, include them in all the fixed costs, the production costs that will not change if you have 1,000 or 1,500 attendees, your production cost, speakers, technology, etc. But do not include them for the variable cost, the cost that is influenced by how many participants you have on site. As for sponsors and exhibitors, I actually think that the combination of on-site and online will benefit the industry in the long run. And maybe we're not there yet with the ability to give full virtual booth experience, but we will be there soon. Creating a new reality where technology is actually bringing us closer and allowing us to connect in ways that were not possible before is our new paradigm. We can say that we do not know how the future will look, or help shape it. We're just learning to provide value in this changing technological environment. It is okay to be in exploration, looking at our audience, learning their new needs, and giving them value. What we cannot afford is to stand still and wait for the world to continue where it stopped.